Liftoff is planned at 3:13 a.m. Eastern Time. That's the opening of a 7-minute launch window. The window extends until 3:20 a.m. Eastern Time. The weather conditions are very favorable for a liftoff. We've got a 90% chance of having acceptable conditions for a launch. The flight crew is continuing to get ready over in their crew quarters at the operations and checkout building, while the launch team here at KSC in the flying room is preparing the vehicle and monitoring systems. And we do have 2 crews out at the pad right now. One is in the white room and inside the vehicle crew module, getting things set up and ready. The other is the final inspection team, making an assessment of the vehicle and looking at temperatures and assessing the overall vehicle. We do have live pictures of the flight crew. Got mission specialist Linda Godwin. She'll be one of the spacewalkers on this flight. Pilot Richard Sirfoss. And Commander Kevin Chilton. Chilton will be guiding the Shuttle Atlantis to a smooth docking. Mission Specialist Shannon Lucid getting ready to begin her stay on Mir. Mission Specialist Ron Saga. And Mission Specialist Rich Clifford, who's also serving as the flight engineer for the mission and will be performing the spacewalk. And the crew waving for the camera. Flight crew ready to go. They've been up since 4:30 p.m. They'll be getting into their launch and entry suits about 11:20 p.m. We're currently got some live coverage of the final inspection team walking around on the top of the mobile launcher platform, just looking at the aft end of the solid rocket boosters. One of the team members just passed. The team is composed of 8 members representing the NASA and contractor team. They use a portable infrared scanner. Also, they take close-up photo documentation of the cryogenic surfaces and doing a lot of data collection to correlate the data. We're standing by to get live coverage of the STS-76 astronauts as they get into their launch and entry suits. And we do have coverage. We've got Commander Kevin Chilton making his 3rd flight today. Just completed the weather briefing with flight directors in Houston and the weather coordinators there, going through the traditional suit up, being assisted with the bulky suit. Chilton will be the 3rd, will dock with the Russian space station, the 3rd to do that. Got pilot Richard Sirfoss making his 2nd flight. He's known as the rendezvous expert and will be responsible for the undocking of the Mir station and the subsequent fly around. Sirfoss will be assisting Chilton at the flight controls in the crew cabin of Mission Specialist Ron Sega. He's the payload commander for this mission, making his second flight. He's very familiar with the United States-Russian cooperative space effort, having spent several months in Russia serving as NASA's operations director at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Star City, just outside of Moscow. Across the room, the rest of the crew members are getting assisted with equipment they'll be taking aboard. Mission Specialist Shannon Lucid. She's got flying for the fifth time today. It's the first American woman to be launched aboard the Mir station. She'll be staying aboard the Mir for 4.5 months. As soon as she arrives on the Mir station, she will become part of that team. She'll be staying on Mir for about 143 days until August, conducting long-duration space research. Mission Specialist Rich Clifford, he's also serving as the flight engineer and will be one of the crew members to make a spacewalk. The spacewalk will occur on Flight Day 6. He's also going to be responsible for the space vision system and will be helping transfer supplies and equipment over to the Mir station. Also, he'll be assisting the commander and pilot with ascent and reentry checklists and in monitoring vehicle systems as the flight engineer. Mission Specialist Linda Godwin, she's making her third flight today. She's going to join Rich Clifford in the spacewalk on Flight Day 6, where they'll be attaching 4 experiments to the Mir docking module. We've got the STS-76 crew members walking down the hall at the Operations and Checkout building. Crew getting ready for their 9-day flight. Mission Specialist Shannon Lucid getting ready for the first flight day, staying in space for about 4.5 months. Employees wishing the crew well on their trip. And here we have the crew coming out. The 76 crew is now aboard the astronaut van. Bob Cabana followed the crew into the van. He'll be getting out at the Launch Complex 39 area. He is going to be in the weather reconnaissance aircraft that will be staged from the Shuttle landing facility.
STS. Go ahead. Step 542. I give you that.
OTC, CDSE.
Go ahead.
Combine that checkup in not perform, that's 582.
582, not perform.
SQC coverage.
RCRT, OTC.
This is Shuttle Launch Control, just past the T-minus 2 hour and counting mark in our countdown for mission STS-76 as we count down to a 3:13 a.m. launch this morning, and mission specialist Shannon Lucid sitting at the hatch waiting her turn to climb aboard the Atlantis.
Oh, 1, 2, XPS 1, 2, and 3 are NA.
Hi, copy. Thank you, sir.
OTC, RSRT. Go ahead. Step 583 is complete. And tech number? 0955. 0955. Copy, CMQC.
That was which step?
583.
583, copy.
All other systems, verify all systems ready for crew module closeout. Launch director entity. Go ahead. Launch team is ready to proceed. Copy that. I'll conduct the poll here in just a couple of seconds. This is launch director on 212, conducting a poll for clear to launch. Payload director. Payload to go, Jim. Copy. Engineering director. Jim, engineering is go. Copy that. Safety and mission assurance.
Safety mission assurance is go, Jim.
Copy, Joel. Range weather. Launch director, we have no constraints to launch. Copy that. Ops manager.
Jim, the MMT has no constraints. You're clear to launch.
Copy. And Atlantis, you guys have a great mission, and we'll see you back here at Kennedy in a little better than a week.
Thanks very much, Jim. The Spirit of 76 is ready to fly, and God bless you and your great launch team that give us this opportunity.
And NTD launch director, you're clear to launch.
All right, copy.
We've just heard Shuttle Launch Director Jim Harrington complete the poll, giving the final clear for the launch of the Space Shuttle Atlantis on mission STS-76.
Countdown clock will start on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. T-minus 9 minutes and counting. Kilo power sequence has been initiated.
Looking for an on-time launch of Atlantis at 3:13 a.m. counting down to the final 9 minutes before the launch of Atlantis. Pilot Searfoss will flip switches in the crew module to directly connect the 3 fuel cells to the essential power buses in the next few minutes.
Go for OAA retract.
Got a glimpse of Commander Kevin Chilton waving as the access arm was being retracted away. Crew now ready to go as we count down the final 7 minutes toward the launch of Atlantis.
Well, go for approach sequence 4.
A profile test of the orbiter aero surfaces has started. The flight control surfaces are being moved through a pre-programmed pattern to verify they are ready for launch. Next, the main engines will be gimbaled and positioned for launch. The liquid hydrogen tanks now being pressurized for flight. All systems are go for launch at this time, just a few minutes away from the 16th voyage of Atlantis with a crew of 6.
ATC, clear caution and warning memory, verify no unexpected errors. Touch and look.
The gaseous oxygen vent hood is being retracted away from the top of the external tank.
Caution warning number clear, no unexpected errors. Copy that, and flight crew, OTC, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. And it's just about time for the Spirit of 76 to wake up the space coast, so have a great flight. Well,
I'll put that in work. Thanks very much.
well, go for ET, LH2, Pacific.
Atlantis will be launched on a northerly trajectory, inclined 51.6 degrees to the equator. 9. We have a go for engine start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Atlantis on the 3rd shuttle mirror docking flight.
Roll for back. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Mission Control sees a good maneuver placing Atlantis on the proper heading. 3 good engines. Engines are throttling back now, helping to ease the buildup of aerodynamic loads on the vehicle as Atlantis continues to accelerate rapidly through the dense lower altitudes, traveling now over 650 miles per hour. Time 48 seconds. All systems are performing well. Atlantis is now easing through the period of maximum dynamic pressure. And the engines are throttling back up.
Atlantis, go at throttle up. Go at throttle up.
All engines are now running at full throttle. All systems are performing well. Altitude is now 62,000 feet. Atlantis is traveling over 1,000 miles per hour. solid rocket booster chamber pressure is beginning to tail off, signaling the burnout of the twin boosters. Mission Control sees a good separation. Atlantis is now flying free, powered by its own main engines. Second stage guidance is now in effect. Altitude now 178,000 feet. Downrange distance 38 miles.
Atlantis, performance nominal. Atlantis, 2-engine tail.